If this rubber piece here is too high, what could happen is the paddle can come, restrict the momentum of the ball going in, and when the paddle moves away, if this is too high and there's a lip there, the ball will just kind of hang up there for an instant, and it won't just flop in like it's supposed to. And what will happen is then the next hump will come around, the ball won't be centered, and you'll hear a clunk. If it's too low, the ball's going to roll off of the flange, drop down, and then you'll never be able to get your ball lift low enough to the ball because to get it the right height on the top of the ball, if this is too low, before you can get the right height, the ball will wedge itself between the flange here and the ball lift belt, and you'll have to raise the ball lift so it falls in, and then it falls down into the valley of the lift arm because it's too low, and you won't be able to lower your ball lift enough, and you can get spinach down here. So just make sure that this is even here. It's the second flange up, or the top flange up right over here, should be even also. Sometimes when you shim these out, this rubber is going to be higher. This rubber here will be higher than the flange, or it could be lower than the flange, and you can adjust for that. Right now it's nice and flush, it's even, it just goes straight across. There's no lip. It's all right if it's a little bit higher, but as you can see by the screwdriver, maybe on the film, I don't know. It's pretty much even. Now, if you want to make an adjustment on that, just pull your lift arm straight up and out, and this radius here you can change a little bit. This type of steel, we make it so you can bend it, and if you put it on your knee and just give it a little flex in other words, if you put your knee over here like this and just give it a little bit of a flex, bend it in, I'll show you what happens here. Okay, we just flexed it in. We're going to stick it back in. I don't know if you can see real well in the camera, but this part of the ring right here is a good 1/4 inch. Look at a good 1/4 inch difference is below the flange here. The rubber on the lift arm, probably a good 1/4 to a 1/2 inch inward from the lift arm. So that's not where you want it. You want it even. If you need to take it out and you want to change the angle on it, you just bend it the other way a little bit. Give it a little flex the other way. Now that's probably about where it's going to be. We'll flex it a hair more, and we'll put it back in. And we'll see where it's at now. Now if you notice, the rubber here is much higher. Here's the screwdriver. It's actually hitting the side of it. So you could adjust this anywhere you want. This hasn't changed because of the washers, but here, that's where you made your change. So you can get that absolutely perfect to any machine just with a little bit of a flex. Now, being that one's too high, what I'm going to do is just flex it in a hair. And stick it back in, and now it's even again. So right now the entire rubber is even with each flange, and you can do that just by the way I showed you. Okay, if one machine is higher than the other, what you want to do is put enough washers in here to adjust this rubber piece to the higher machine, so that the flange here, if this machine was higher, is even with the rubber. If the other flange on the opposite machine is lower, then what you could do is just mark it with a pen or a pencil how much it's sticking up above the metal flange. Take it out and then just take it down a little bit on your hand grinder. And from the ball's perspective, it'll think that the machines are even. But the rubber on these lift arms are made really thick so that you can do that. And the type of rubber on here, unlike a PBL where it's that shiny type stuff that sticks into the cups, the liners for the cups, it's rocket rail material. So it really grabs the ball good. It's a lot better lift arm. Once you make your adjustments and you flex this, chances are you won't have to flex it. Hopefully you won't have to. Just put it in and it'll be fine. But it all depends on how your machine lines up. If you got to flex it, no big deal. But once it's flexed to the proper curvature of the machine, once you bolt it down top and bottom, it can't flex anymore because, the metal would have to stretch the way it's bolted in there, and that's not going to happen. So it's a really good design, and it's made to adapt to any type of machine. Okay, that's pretty much it. The only other thing that you got to really do is these pieces right here. They're called 022s. They go on the bottom of your up rail where the rubber comes down and meets this bracket here. Your up rails come down and they get bolted to this bracket after it's bolted onto the machine. What you need to do is take off like the bottom couple inches, however high this is, of the rubber, and slip it on the bottom of your up rails so that it meets the bracket like that. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow the ball to center. For instance, if the ball was only maybe 2/3 way in, like right about here, when the hump comes around, the hump's going to start lifting the ball. So what it's going to do is it's going to glide off of this part of the ring, deflect off of that and center itself on the way up. And that's why it's so important that you bring that lift arm in enough so that it doesn't, this piece here doesn't obstruct the ball from going. And if anything, the ball should just graze it when it goes by. But when the ball's sitting on that rubber pad there, and if you move the belt by hand, so it starts lifting the ball up. If you look down from the top of the machine, you should see clearance between the ball and these pieces right here. And then you know everything's set right. And you got enough shims on the rubber piece up in here where we talked about. Now, if the hump is there as the ball rolls up to it, the ball's not going to center all the way. The ball will go up, it won't go all the way in until the hump goes by, and then it'll drop in. If the hump is just coming up to it, as the ball's getting there, the hump will close up. Because of the slope of the hump when it comes up, all the ball lift belt has to do is rotate maybe an inch or so, and it'll close off the window of opportunity for the ball to go in. And as the hump goes by, the ball will just turn a little bit and then fall in. If the ball lift is too high, it'll allow the ball to go in a little further than it should. You can get a little clunking. So it's real important you get that ball lift as low as you can possibly get it with the ball still going in, and get that lift arm adjusted right. And really, those are the only things you really got to look for. So to just highlight it, these pieces are real important to put on. You got to have them. 3 washers in the back so that your shimming is right in relationship to your up rails. Your rubber pad on the bottom, however many washers it takes to put on the bottom to raise or lower the rubber pad so that it's even with the rings, that's how many you put there. A 4-inch spread on your big spring that puts the tension on the ball lift belt, and get the ball lifted as low as you can possibly get it with the ball still going in without an obstruction. Providing you set it up like that, this unit works smooth as silk, and I don't care how much oil you put on that ball, it's going up. Okay, now the way we tweak that out, here, let's throw the ball in there. You can see the ball lift belt right over here. And when that ball rolls in there, there's like hardly any clearance at all. You can put the ball in and maybe rock it forward a little bit, but that's how well we got this thing tweaked out. But the bottom line is the less clearance down there, the better. You can have a little bit of daylight between the ball and the belt, but that right there is like super tweaked, and you're not going to get it any closer. Like I say, you can rock the ball forward a little bit, but when that hump comes around, the hull of the opening is going to get smaller, and nothing's going to stop the ball from going up. I don't care how much oil you put on there. There's no amount of oil that's going to be on your lanes that's going to transfer to the ball that's going to stop that ball from going up at that point. So let's move the camera to the top of the machine, and we'll drop the ball lift in there and show you how to get the right height and how to set that part up, and we're pretty much done.